What was life like for Neanderthals hunted by giant humans? History for sleep. Candle introduction. Soft, mysterious background music, deep forest winds, crackling fire sounds. Long before cities, kingdoms, and even the rise of Homo sapiens as we know them, the Earth belonged to another kind of human. The Neanderthals, strong, intelligent, and resilient beings who roamed the icy valleys and towering forests of Ice Age Europe. But in this tale, we explore a darker twist of history, a legend whispered through the bones of time. A world where Neanderthals were not alone. For among them, it is said, walked the giants, massive human-like beings, towering above trees, their footsteps shaking the frozen ground. And for Neanderthals, survival meant more than just hunting mammoths or escaping saber-toothed cats, it meant staying hidden from the giant humans who hunted them. This is the story of Urag, the last Neanderthal hunter of the Icelands, and his people's desperate struggle against extinction. Music fades into deep ambient hum. Evergreen Tree Chapter 1, The Frozen World. The world was a frozen wilderness. Snow never melted. The air bit through fur and skin alike. Neanderthals, shorter but powerfully built, lived in caves near the valley of Vornik, where icy rivers carved through stone. They hunted reindeer, bison, and woolly mammoths with stone-tipped spears. Their fires burned low, and their language was made of grunts, gestures, and rhythm. But one winter, strange tracks began appearing near their caves, prints so large that even the bravest warriors refused to follow them. Each footprint was as wide as a Neanderthal's chest, and twice as long. At first, they thought it was an animal, perhaps a monstrous bear. But then, they found bones, crushed mammoth bones, splintered open, as though something with immense strength had snapped them apart with its hands. And worse, they found a skull, not an animal's. A Neanderthal's. Fire Chapter 2, The Giants of the North. Stories began to spread between tribes. Of tall beings, half men, half beasts, living beyond the mountains. They said these giants once lived alongside the Neanderthals, but as food grew scarce, they turned on them. Some even believed the giants were a punishment from the sky, sent to erase the old people of the earth. Urag, the tribe's hunter, saw one with his own eyes. It was dusk when he and his mate Nura were hunting reindeer across the ridge. The herd froze suddenly, their heads turning to the west. And there, emerging from the fog, stood a giant figure, at least 12 feet tall. Its skin was pale and thick, its hair tangled like roots, and its eyes glowed faintly under the moonlight. In one hand, it dragged the carcass of a mammoth. In the other, a long bone sharpened into a club. Urag watched from behind the rocks, his heart pounding. The creature sniffed the air, and then turned its head. For a brief moment, its eyes met Urag's. And then, it roared. A sound so loud, it made the earth tremble. Urag and Nura fled, but that night, they knew. They were no longer the hunters. Milky Way Chapter 3, The Night of Fire. The giants came in the dark. 3 of them. They stormed into the valley, breaking stones, tearing trees from their roots. The Neanderthals tried to defend their caves. Spears flew, rocks were thrown, but it was useless. One giant grabbed a warrior and crushed him with a single blow. Another swung its bone club, sending 2 others flying. Urag shouted for his people to flee into the woods. He stayed behind with a burning torch, throwing it into the dry grass. Flames erupted across the snow. Smoke filled the valley, and the giants retreated, coughing and roaring as the fire spread. By dawn, the valley of Vornik was gone, blackened by ash. Only 10 Neanderthals survived. Bone Chapter 4, The Journey South. For weeks, Urag led his people south through the icy plains. They hunted small animals, shared warmth, and prayed to the old spirits for safety. Every night, they heard distant echoes, heavy footsteps following them, growing louder as days passed. They reached a cave system near what we now call southern Europe, where forests were dense and the ice was melting. There, they met other Neanderthal bands. But even here, the giants' shadows loomed. The tribes spoke of tall ones, who came from the mountains to steal their young. Some claimed to have found enormous bones buried deep in the ice, skulls larger than any man's. Urag realized they were being hunted everywhere. Skull Chapter 5, The Last Stand. Spring came, and with it, hope. The tribe found shelter near a lake, with fish, berries, and game. But one night, the lake began to ripple, though no wind blew. Then came the smell, wet fur, and earth. And then, the giants returned. 3 of them, roaring like thunder. The Neanderthals fought with fire, rocks, and spears, but they were no match. Nura was taken, half the tribe was slain. Urag, desperate and burning with rage, climbed the cliffs above the lake with a torch in hand. As the largest giant reached for him, he leapt, plunging the burning torch into its eye. The giant screamed, falling backward into the lake, pulling Urag with it. The fire hissed out, and the water went still. When the morning came, the giants were gone. And so was Urag. Crescent Moon Epilogue, The Bones in the Ice. Thousands of years later, archaeologists found bones in a glacier near the same lake, Neanderthal bones, mixed with enormous human-like skulls. Some said it proved nothing. Others whispered it was evidence that long ago, Neanderthals were not alone. Whether myth or memory, the legend of the giants who hunted men remains a haunting echo of our forgotten past. A reminder that before civilization, before language, before history, there were beings who fought simply to exist. And perhaps, beneath the frozen earth, they still rest, side by side, the hunted and the hunters. Soft music fades out, fire crackling, distant wind. ZZZ outro, history for sleep. As you close your eyes, imagine the ancient world before us. The snow, the firelight, and the shadows of those who came before. Their stories live in our bones, whispered through time. Because history never truly sleeps.